Keep heading west on Burke Street until you reach Royal Lane, then head south along the lane until you reach Little Collins Street. In 1918, a war erupted in the inner city due to the rivalry of two gangs, the Richmond and Fitzroy gangs. The origin of the feud is a highly ingenious robbery that occurred on Collins Street in 1918. The Argus on the 15th of January of that year wrote of the event, quote, "Choosing a time when there was only one salesman on duty, a man took advantage of his temporary absence from the counter and stole from the window 2 trays containing diamond and sapphire rings valued at £1,435. A Confederate who had been waiting in the vestibule leading from Collins Street to the shop opened the doors for the thief and then rapidly passed a specially prepared chain through the handles and clasped the ends together with a padlock, thus preventing immediate pursuit." End quote. In the aftermath of the robbery, police were given a tip that Matthew Daly was worth following, which led to him being followed to the office of Henry Stokes. Daly was found to have 1/3 of the jewels in his possession, the rest having been taken to Sydney. Stokes and Daly were arrested, but found not guilty during the trial. Despite the official findings, Squizzy Taylor, a member of the Richmond gang, was considered by many to have set up his rivals, particularly as Stokes, a fellow member, gave evidence for the prosecution in exchange for having the charges against him dropped. To gauge the reaction of the Fitzroy gang, Taylor sent his girlfriend Dolly Gray to a beer house run by Ted Whiting, the centre of the anti-Taylor slag grog dealers. While there, Dolly, already tipsy, proceeded to drink and flirt with the patrons. After an hour of this, she passed out on the couch and her assailants attacked her, taking her jewellery and clothes, leaving her alone on the couch in just her underwear and shoes. She awoke to find herself nearly naked and immediately left to inform Taylor of what had happened. This led to the Fitzroy vendetta, a bloody battle that lasted for over 2 years, where members of both the Fitzroy and Richmond gangs regularly shot at each other in retaliation for crimes the other had committed. The final battle of that vendetta took place here at the corner of Little Collins Street and Royal Lane. Harry Slater, the leader of the Fitzroy faction, came across Henry Stokes, Taylor's ally, and the operator of the most elaborate and best protected 2-up school in Melbourne. Shots were fired, and Slater fell to the ground while Stokes ran. Slater was hesitant to provide any evidence during the trial, however Stokes had no issues. Stokes told the court that he acted in self-defence as he knew Slater intended to shoot him on sight. Despite this confession, due to the lack of evidence provided by Slater, Stokes was convicted of discharging a firearm in a public place, which was downgraded to a suspended sentence if Stokes agreed to leave the city. Slater also left Melbourne at the same time, Stokes for Tasmania and Slater for Sydney. Both refused to give up their lives of crime and continued in their lifestyle despite the warnings of police. In 1935, Stokes was sentenced to 4 years imprisonment for having conspired to rob the Ballarat branch of the Commonwealth Bank, which held about £80,000 at the time. He eventually died in 1945 following 2 years of ill health. Slater moved to Sydney where he fell in with criminal associates. He was murdered there in 1940 as he walked along a street to catch a tram at Yarra Bay Junction, less than a quarter of a mile from the shack where he lived with his wife.